What do you think about Brooklyn and Boston, the Nets and the Celtics? That's really the talk right now.
I think this is going to be the best series of this round. Boston, I think Boston's a better team just because they're a more better defensive team than the Nets are. The Nets is a good offensive team. You got Kyrie and KD. You got Steph Curry. Hopefully, they give him more touches than they did last night. Andre Drummond playing really well last night. But it's gonna be a struggle, especially on the defensive end, because you got to deal with Tatum. And we've seen the last time Boston faced the Nets, Jason Tatum went off for like 50-something points. So the key to the series, for Boston to win would be Jaylen Brown. Hopefully, he can stay consistent in terms of scoring because they're going to find some way to contain Jason Tatum, but Jason Tatum's still going to get his points. Jaylen Brown has to be consistent, has to be that second scorer on Boston. And, the thing with Tom Lillard's injury, yes, it's effective for Boston because Tom Lillard's been playing unbelievable this season defensively. You still got Grant Williams who can still locked up. You still got Al Horford, even though with age, but he can still play defense. You got Daniel Tice, from a trade. He can play defense. So, it's never going to be a problem with Boston because it's always the next man up. Marcus Smart is going to have the assignment on Kyrie, and Marcus Smart is a dog, defensive player of the year.
Congratulations to Marcus Smart.
Yes, well deserved. So, for the Nets, someone was saying Kyrie and KD can pull this one, it could help them win 4 games. I don't know if they could do that, It just really just depends, on hopefully they can stay healthy, first of all. Second of all, Steve Nash, I'm still not sold on him as a coach, in the X's and O's and everything. I'm still not sold on him because of rotations and the different decision-making he does. I'm just still not sold on him as a coach. But this one's going to be a great series. I just think Boston, like I said, is a better team. This is probably going to go 6 games, and I'm going to go with Boston.
So is it safe to say that Kyrie and Kevin Durant is probably the better duo than Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, but the surrounding supporting cast for Boston is probably the advantage?
Yes.
Okay. I can definitely get with that. Now, there was a report, I think his name Bruce Brown from the Brooklyn Nets. They were asking him in the post game about, this upcoming series versus Boston. How does he feel like the Nets can win? And because Williams is out, he was basically saying, man, all we need to do is just take it inside like it's nothing. And Kevin Durant kind of snapped at him like, we don't need to give the Celtics extra bulletin board material or, giving out our game plan. Like those guys know how to play. So part of Brooklyn's strategy, it seems like possibly, is that they're going to try to bang inside the paint because they feel like Boston does not have that grit, that size, and is not going to want to play bully ball down in the post. Jaylen Brown, one of the best two-way defenders in the league. Mm-hmm. Jason Tatum, outstanding season he had. It's going to definitely be a rough one. 6 games, 7 games, most definitely. Marcus Smart, he's going to be the X factor, bro.
He would have to be the X factor. He would have to not only facilitate and play defense, he has to score the basketball too as well. Make make better shots. Now they did say that Tom Lillard, there's a real possibility that Tom Lillard will hopefully be back in the first round of the playoffs, which is good news for Boston. I don't want to rush him quickly though, because you still got really good backup defenders in the paint like Al Horford and Daniel Tice and Grant Williams. They can still lock up and everything. So,
right.
And then you got Derrick White who can facilitate too as well. He's been playing pretty good, the last quarter of the games of the season. So, it's going to be a series. Like I said, they think that Bruce Brown and then Andre Drummond can dominate in the paint, but they're going to have a struggle against Boston's defense. But Boston is still going to be the better team. I know people really pulling for Brooklyn just because of KD and Kyrie alone. You ain't gonna stop Kevin Durant at the end of the day.
Right.
You ain't gonna stop him the way he can score the basketball and all that. Kyrie, you can kind of frustrate him. I think Marcus can frustrate him. I mean, he's still gonna get his points, but I think he probably might struggle in terms of percentage, maybe. But we just have to wait and see, though. But give credit where it's due. Boston. I hate that they had to get the second seed against the Nets, but they say, hey, they ain't scared of anybody. They could be a playoff nightmare for anybody in the East.
I like the fact that we get a real good series like this that means something early on in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Like, we had so much drama in the regular season. These playing games is going to be key as well. But just to know right now we got that type of matchup in the first round is big time. So I guess, I got to ask you the $1 million question, since you're going with Boston, and I'm going with Boston too in this series. But I do have to ask the $1 million question. If Ben Simmons was to suit up, now me personally, I don't think he's ever going to suit up in a uniform with the Brooklyn Nets, but if he was to play in this series, does that change your perspective on how this series would go if Ben Simmons is able to play for Brooklyn?
If Ben Simmons was able to play for Brooklyn, yes, because Ben Simmons is a great defensive player. He can guard positions 1 through 5, so he can cause like matchups for like a Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown, because you have to worry about him and his playmaker. Plus, Durant and Kyrie can play off the ball too as well, and Ben Simmons can come up and down the court with the ball. So it's going to be it makes things interesting if Ben Simmons is on the floor. Now, I don't think he's going to play until probably next season just because of the back, though. We just don't know how healthy the back is. When you have like a back injury like that, you see it with Michael Porter Jr., in Denver. Like, you just don't know when they're going to be able to come back, because that back injury can change a lot of different things, for different players. But if he did play this series, it could be interesting, though. But I think Boston can probably still pull it out, but he would cause matchups, for Brooklyn to go against Boston.